You wake in the middle of the night, but you can't move. Your eyes dart around the room, your breath quickens. Something is sitting on your chest, heavy, invisible, watching. You try to scream, but no sound escapes. And then, from the shadows, you hear soft footsteps, the creak of a wooden floor, a whisper that doesn't quite sound human. They say this is just sleep paralysis, a trick of the mind, but in the old villages of Eastern Europe, they knew exactly what this was. Kikimora, a spirit, a demon, a silent watcher in the night. She punishes those who neglect their homes or forget to leave an offering by the stove. She doesn't need a door to enter. She's already inside. This is the legend of Kikimora, the demon spirit from Slavic mythology. Throughout the vast forests and snowy plains of Eastern Europe, ancient Slavic folklore whispers of spirits that dwell not in the heavens or the underworld, but inside the walls of your own home. Among them is one of the most unsettling, Kikimora. Feared across Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus, Kikimora is said to be a household demon, a ghostly figure who slips through cracks in the night. To some, she is a quiet helper. To others, a living nightmare who suffocates her victims in their sleep. In this video, we'll explore the chilling legend of Kikimora, from her dual nature as both housewife and horror, to her ties with sleep paralysis, witchcraft, and domestic superstition. So light a candle and stay close to the fire, because the farther you drift from its warmth, the closer she gets. Kikimora is one of the most enigmatic figures in Slavic mythology, a spirit born not from the skies or forests, but from the very heart of the home. Her name echoes through old folktales, whispered in warning to restless children and careless housekeepers alike. Traditionally, Kikimora is described as a small, haggard woman, often dressed in rags, with tangled hair and bony fingers. In some tales, she has chicken legs or an unnaturally long nose, features that mark her as otherworldly. She's rarely seen directly, but always felt. She is said to dwell behind the stove, in the cellar, or in dark corners of the house where the firelight fades. Wherever there is dust, disorder, or silence, she lurks. Kikimora is often considered the female counterpart, or wife, of the Domovoi, the household's protective spirit. But unlike the Domovoi, who defends the home and rewards good behavior, Kikimora is far more volatile. She is the embodiment of the home's hidden anxiety, the consequence of neglect, the unease of things left undone. In peaceful homes, she remains quiet, perhaps even helpful. But in places where disorder festers, Kikimora awakens. And once she does, the house will never feel quite safe again. She may tangle your thread, shatter your dishes, or worse, visit you in the dead of night, when you are most vulnerable and completely alone. Kikimora is not simply evil. She is order and chaos, wrapped in one spirit, a reflection of the very home she inhabits. Her nature is dual, deeply dependent on the behavior of those she lives among. In homes that are tidy, calm, and respectful, Kikimora may serve as a guardian spirit. It's said she'll help with household tasks like spinning thread at night, watching over the livestock, or rocking a baby's cradle. She moves silently, unseen but felt, as long as the family honors the home and maintains its sanctity. But in disorder, when the home is dirty, arguments rage, or her presence is mocked, she becomes something far more sinister. The same Kikimora who spins thread can now tangle it into impossible knots. She may break plates, spoil milk, or cause sudden, unexplainable illness. You may hear her tapping on the walls at night, or dragging her long fingers across your windowsill. Worst of all, when truly angered, she may come to you while you sleep, sitting on your chest, draining your breath, whispering unintelligible words into your ear. In this sense, Kikimora becomes a kind of domestic enforcer, an invisible judge of cleanliness, behavior, and respect. In a time when the household was sacred, she reminded people that even the unseen things matter. She is neither entirely good nor wholly wicked. She is a consequence, a spirit shaped by her surroundings. Suggestive, invite her respect, and she may protect you. But invite her wrath, and you'll soon hear her creeping through your house after midnight. Perhaps the most terrifying part of Kikimora's legend is her link to what we now call sleep paralysis, a strange and frightening condition where a person awakens in the night but finds themselves unable to move, speak, or even breathe properly. Across cultures, this experience has been interpreted through the lens of folklore. In the West, it's the old hag. In Japan, it's kanashibari, the binding of the body by a ghost or spirit. But in Slavic mythology, it's Kikimora. She slips into your room, unseen. You may hear her first, the creak of wood, the soft patter of bare feet, the faint whisper of spinning thread, and then you feel her, heavy, suffocating, sitting silently on your chest. You struggle to move, but can't. You try to scream, but no sound comes out. Your eyes may open just long enough to catch the shape of a hunched woman crouched at the foot of your bed, or standing in the corner, watching. Some believe this is all just a psychological phenomenon, a glitch between waking and sleep. But the old tales suggest otherwise. They say Kikimora comes when the home is out of balance, when the air is heavy with conflict, when something is wrong. And if she visits once, she may return again, especially if you ignore the warnings. If Kikimora is in your home, you will know. The signs are subtle at first. Unexplained knocks, restless sleep, or the sudden breaking of everyday items. But the longer she is ignored or disrespected, the more she makes herself known. Fortunately, Slavic traditions offer ways to keep Kikimora at bay. Rituals passed down through generations. The most important rule: keep your home clean and in order. A tidy home is said to keep Kikimora calm, while disorder invites her wrath. Avoid whistling indoors, a sound believed to summon spirits like her. Before bed, some families would leave small offerings, a piece of bread, a pinch of salt, or a bowl of milk by the hearth. This was done not out of devotion, but out of fear, a form of negotiation with the unseen. If things turned truly bad, more serious measures were taken. Incense or blessed herbs were burned to purify the house. Orthodox prayers or protective charms were placed near the stove, windows, or cradle. Still, no charm is perfect, and sometimes Kikimora doesn't leave. Sometimes she settles in, watching, waiting, until the house forgets to fear her. The legend of Kikimora is not confined to a single tale or image. It shifts and evolves depending on the region, revealing just how deeply rooted she is in Slavic cultural memory. In Russian folklore, Kikimora is most often associated with the household, a domestic spirit who lurks behind the stove or in the cellar. Here, she's deeply connected to the rhythms of everyday life: cooking, spinning, cleaning. If you keep order, she stays quiet. If not, she becomes a living nightmare. But in Ukrainian and Belarusian traditions, she takes on darker forms. In some versions, Kikimora is not born in the home at all. She is the restless spirit of a woman who died violently or was cursed. These versions place her more in line with revenant spirits, or forest witches, capable of far more destruction than knocking on walls or tangling thread. Some tales distinguish between two Kikimoras: domestic Kikimora, linked to the stove and the home; field or forest Kikimora, a wild, vengeful spirit who misleads travelers or brings madness. Despite these differences, all versions agree on one thing: she is drawn to places of weakness, whether that's a messy home, a grieving heart, or a mind drifting between sleep and nightmare. Beneath the surface of supernatural fear, Kikimora represents something far more profound: the hidden anxieties that dwell within the home and within the human mind. In traditional Slavic society, the household was considered sacred. Women in particular were expected to keep the home spotless, warm, and orderly. Kikimora, then, became the embodiment of domestic guilt. A messy house? A restless baby? Milk gone sour? That wasn't bad luck. That was Kikimora, reminding you of your failure. She's not just a ghost, she's a psychological weight, a creeping presence born from stress, grief, and unspoken tensions. Some folklorists interpret her as a projection of feminine burden, the spirit of unpaid labor, exhaustion, and emotional imbalance. She spins thread, but never finishes. She knocks, but never speaks. She arrives at night when the world is quiet, when the mind starts to unravel. And her terrifying visit during sleep paralysis? Many now believe she is the mythological face of a very real experience. The brain caught between waking and dreaming, unable to move, consumed by fear. In those moments, the mind searches for meaning and finds Kikimora. She is not chaos itself, but the manifestation of what happens when order slips away. A reminder that something is wrong, something spiritual, psychological, or both. In this way, Kikimora has endured not because of what she is, but because of what she represents. The darkness that creeps in when we're alone, overwhelmed, and no longer in control. Though Kikimora's roots lie in ancient Slavic folklore, her presence has crept into modern storytelling, evolving with each retelling. She appears in fantasy literature, horror fiction, and even video games. In the Witcher series, for example, Kikimoras are reimagined as grotesque, insectoid monsters that lurk in swamps, more beast than spirit, but still echoing her ominous legacy. In tabletop games like Pathfinder, Kikimora takes on a fae-like form, blending eerie beauty with menace. Some horror writers use her name as a symbol of sleep paralysis demons, domestic dread, or ancestral curses. Even outside of direct references, her influence is felt in countless modern tales. The ghostly woman in the walls, the sound of footsteps in an empty house, the feeling of being watched at night. Kikimora may no longer live behind the stove, but she still lingers in our stories and in our fears. Kikimora is more than a myth. She's a reflection of fear, of disorder, of the silent pressure that lurks in every home. She teaches that the supernatural isn't always found in distant forests or ancient temples. Sometimes it's already inside, in the whisper behind the wall, the chill in a silent room, the weight on your chest at 3 a.m. Whether you see her as a demon, a spirit, or a symbol, Kikimora has endured for centuries because she speaks to something universal: the fear of what happens when control is lost, when the line between order and chaos begins to blur. So the next time you hear a soft knock in the night, or wake up unable to move, remember the old stories, remember the offerings left by the hearth, and remember her name, Kikimora, because once she settles into a home, she rarely leaves. If you enjoyed this dive into Slavic mythology and folklore, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more chilling tales from around the world, and share your thoughts or experiences with sleep paralysis in the comments below. Until next time, Keep your house in order and the shadows out.